Agnes here, and we have a wonderful discussion here today with many that you have seen before. And we are discussing two very important topics. The first one, the greatest manifestation, and the second one, your daily routine. So we're going to go through with the people that are here with me today. And if you can just say what country you're in, because it's always nice knowing where people are. And then we will go one at a time. And Hamza, would you like to start?
Hi everyone, good to be here, part of this call. And it's always great to connect and share our best practices, and we get to learn from each other. So, starting with the first question, which is greatest manifestation. So, I think I have had been lucky with manifestations. I don't know which one I would say is the best one, but I I think recently I manifested an amazing trip, vacation to Madrid in the midst of travel restrictions and the worst of all blockages. And that trip, and also I had an issue with my vaccination certificate. So now you need health clearances to travel. And just when I got my visa, I found out that my vaccine certificate was not ready and I could not travel in the date that I was given by the embassy. Then I came across this amazing book by Florence Scovel Shinn, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I found some magical affirmations. And I started affirming infinite spirit, open the door for Madrid. And I would affirm that like hundreds of times. And also, I would affirm all obstacles now vanish from my pathway, doors are lifted, gates fly open, and I enter the kingdom under grace. So these two turned around my situation in a matter of a week. And one day I was just logging in to see if my certificate had changed. And I found a completely new certificate, which was updated and which was now acceptable for travel. So, yeah, that's the latest success I've had with affirmations. And the second question, which is self love manifestation routine. So I'm doing two things which seem to work. So first thing in the morning when I wake up, I do this technique called listing. I think Joseph Eli has a channel on YouTube and he talks about listing. That you put a date when you wake up and write down a list of 5 to 6 things that you want to do on that day, and write as if you've already achieved it. So I would write, today is the day of my amazing good fortune. I give thanks for this perfect day. Or I would say, today is the day of completion. And I also write, I am safe and divinely protected, because we're living in the middle of pandemic and there's so many challenges, health risks. And I think I've been super fortunate that I've been safe from COVID, although the infection rate has been very, very high. Like, I know my friends got it, my colleagues got it, but luckily I've been safe. And I think the affirmations have really helped me. So that's one practice that I do every morning. I write down a list of 5 to 6 things that I want for that day. And by the end of the day, I do manage to manifest 1 to 2 at least. And the second thing I'm doing is I'm enough hypnosis. So I'm running this Instagram page on my fitness. And because we live in a world of comparison, we do feel the moments we feel insecure, we feel we're not good enough. We see pages which we see people who seem to be perfect. And that does make us feel a bit insecure. So I've started doing I'm enough hypnosis, where like I affirm that I am enough and I'm significant, I matter, and my work is unique. I love my work. Everybody loves my work. So that seems to be working as well. As I'm seeing a lot of love that I get from people on my public page. So yeah, that's all.
Wonderful. That's I love your affirmations. I'm a big fan of Florence Hamza. I think she's just still one of my absolute favorites, and she's my first introduction to LOA or any kind of self-love practices or anything like that. So, uh, can you say what country you're in?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Lovely, lovely. Just for those that don't know. Thank you, Hamza. That's fantastic. And yeah, traveling when there's all that going on, boy oh boy, it really feels like even more of an achievement than it normally does. So that's wonderful. And I know you've had more than one trip in the last year or two.
And that's what everyone says to me. How do you manage to travel every 3 months with the worst of lockdowns? I'm like, I have magic.
Yep, exactly right. The magic wand. It works well. Fantastic. Does anybody feel like they want to go next?
I'll go next because you'll lose me shortly anyway.
Oh,
So I've had a good year this year, which you guys already know, but I will share that probably my biggest manifestations this year have been an increase in my salary and a promotion soon to come. So we're sticking with that one. And as a result of that, also purchasing a flat that I fell in love with literally the first time I walked into it. Even when things really seemed like they weren't going my way, both of these really panned out like in a way that I couldn't have seen coming in a million years. So I'd say those are the two big ones, but there's been lots of smaller things along the way. And as far as the daily routine is concerned, I've actually relaxed myself on daily stuff. So if there's a day that I'm not feeling particularly well, like today, I will just leave it. I don't force myself to do it. But I'd say probably 4 or 5 days of the week, like Hamza, I list things because I find it really works for me to write things down and to sort of see them on paper. And I start my day every day when I wake up before I even, I'm fully awake and opening my eyes with gratitude. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Even simple things like thank you for a good night of sleep. Just anything you can think of. It really sets the tone for the day. Meditations, usually self-love meditations. I probably do those about 3 times a week. And I use any opportunity I have, like if I'm walking to the store or now that we're going back into the office. I used to do this. I used to use my commute for affirmations and I've started again. And I use that time, put on a little bit of music, something soothing, and I use that time to affirm, most importantly, sort of self-love affirmations, not other things, but self-love affirmations or stuff for other people sometimes, like for my mum, for her health. So yeah, I'd say that's sort of my daily-ish routine.
nice. And we had the great pleasure of seeing your wonderful new flat yesterday when some of us got
You did.
It's so lovely to actually witness someone's manifestation in the 3D. So it was beautiful, really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that is fun, isn't it? Right? When somebody else can see it as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Julia. So
You're
I know
welcome.
you're feeling physically 100% today. So if you need to drop off whenever you need to, you do that.
For sure.
Caitlyn, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlyn Moon, and I'm from America originally, but I'm now based in Dublin, Ireland. And I guess moving to Ireland does count as like one of my biggest manifestations. I'm currently doing a PhD at Trinity College, which is the best institution in the world, arguably, for what I'm doing. And that was a deliberate manifestation that Agnes really, really helped me with, as well as this very tricky masters where they were just pulling the rug out from under my feet the last bit. I also got to manage to travel quite a few times during the pandemic. Like I got to be home for my birthday. I got to go see my parents over the summer. This year I also manifested my dream car, a cherry red Mustang, which is great. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint like my biggest manifestation, like even, this apartment in the center of the city with a waterfront view, like while we're having a housing crisis. That's pretty cool. Which Agnes and I also deliberately did. That was amazing when we found this place. But I think my biggest manifestation, especially this year, is actually kind of small in the scale of that sort of thing, in the scale of material stuff. It's actually just my self-confidence and a sort of inner stability. And we talk about self-love a lot. I've been working on self-love actively for about 4 years now. And, it started off with I established a routine of doing the meditations every day, picking out affirmations, and really just focusing. I've been aware of LOA for about 15 years. If you've seen my interview with Agnes in the past, I used the secret to heal myself from a nearly fatal head injury. And, here I am, brain damage and all, but, but still confidence and, that sort of sense of self-acceptance is really just a part of self-love that we don't talk about on the whole. I guess it's implied, but what I've started to do recently, in the last 3 months, is listen to these 8-hour affirmations at night. Dylan James is the one who puts them out. He's very, very logical. I really enjoy his material. And it just focuses on, trusting and accepting yourself. There are things that, with self-love, you want to learn to love your body, and you want to learn to, love who you are as a person. But it kind of transcends that. It's learning to accept your flaws and embrace them and realize that they actually make you unique. They're not something that need to be changed. So that's part of my routine. I listen to the 8-hour affirmations every single night. There's one I like called Limitless Manifester. That's a great one. That's a really great all around basic manifest everything you want to be a master manifester. I've also started working out again. With the pandemic, I was in basically total isolation for a good period of time. And I started working out again. I was a competitive figure skater for 10 years, and that was really, really difficult. It gave me a negative perception on my body. That's really where my confidence took a lot of breaks. I medaled all the time, but it was still when you're in an Olympic training facility, the coaches, they're not really great for your self-esteem. And then high school, no thanks. So, I've just really been breaking through those boundaries. And so, the tapes at night, working out, I've also been focusing on 3 affirmations at a time during the day that really help. And they again deal with everything's working out for me. I've got everything under control. Of course, this is going to happen if I want it to. And I've also just been focusing on having fun again. I really like fashion history. So I've been getting a lot of joy out of dressing up again and enjoying cooking and painting and dance, just anything that makes my nerdy little heart happy. I've been following that road and embracing it and getting as much joy out of it as I can. And that's really amped up my manifestations. So.
Brilliant. I think the fact that you're doing a PhD when you've had a brain injury because you had an accident, that alone is beyond. That's just amazing, Caitlyn, amazing. I'm going to actually put all of you that I've done interviews with, I will put the separate interviews down below for those that haven't watched the full extent of your manifestations, because we've talked about these things in detail one-on-one. Messi.
Hi, Agnes. Hello, everyone. Okay, so the questions are you the ones that you sent me are your 3 best manifestations that you have already had and your daily routine now. Okay, if I had to choose 3, it's going to be really difficult because I guess life has become like I've noticed that everything is manifestation. Like sitting down talking to you guys 5 seconds ago, I was just visualizing and thinking what I was going to say here and stuff. So everything is manifestation. So it's going to be really difficult to choose three. But if I have to choose like few that can teach other people on how to overcome problems, I would definitely choose, the one that I shared with you. Obviously, the case with the lady who was who was accusing me of different things, and I was going through a lot of crazy moments there, and that one, just to explain, someone sued me for something that I didn't do, and they were expecting me, and everything was against me. The law was against me, and everything was against me. And I came out of that by just noticing that I was just being negative, and it was just coming from my self talk. So yeah, noticing that helped, and that one is one of my biggest manifestations. And then after that, obviously, I have my job right now, the house that I live in, the car that I have, the last trip that I took. Basically, the last trip that I took was just full manifestation. So when it comes to the techniques, I am not very good. Like, I'm not a big fan of affirming, but I do believe. Okay, so this is what I think. Everyone has their own techniques. Like, Neville says imagination is the key. So he uses like visualizing to manifest things, while another person would say affirmation works for me, and another person says scripting works for me. So my biggest advice is just, take in the information, apply it, and see what works for you. And that's exactly what I did. I took in a lot of information. I read a lot of books, and I noticed that for me, scripting works a lot. Everything that I write down, like last time I was sitting down reading this journal that I wrote down. It was a diary journal that I wrote down when I was like 13 or something like that. And most of the things in here just came true. And it's so funny. And I was writing it down like just so I can express myself on a diary. But it's so funny. Like I wrote down, I want to communicate with the world. Here, I'm communicating with the world through Agnes. I want to be heard. I want this type of job. I have this when I'm older. I have this. I have that, and everything came true. So like I like scripting, and another thing that I really like doing is I just every time I'm scrolling down through social media, if I find something that I like, or if I find something that I like about something that I want to do, like if I want to go someplace, I just take the picture, and I have like an Instagram page where I don't follow anyone, no one follows me. I just post the pictures so that I know when I thought about this manifestation, because sometimes we become doubtful, even if we have like thousands and thousands of manifestation, we still have that brain that wants to suffer and that wants to so I just take the picture and I post it there, and I notice most of the time, like the last one that I had was just so I can show you guys. So the last post that I posted that was so specific was this picture that I was going to, and it was like around February 9. And so this is me underneath that. So yeah, I usually, like, if there is something that I like, a car that I like and I would like to have, I just take the picture and I post it there, and I just visualize it, and I just leave it alone. I think the secret is just leaving it alone because digging it up is the worst thing. So when it comes to my daily routine, I'm a very early bird. I wake up really early, and I, like, after I've washed my face and I've had a cup of coffee, I like to sit down and just write down the things that I'm grateful for. And the things that I'm grateful for, I usually do it most of the time if I don't have like a change in position. But I write down what I'm grateful for, and then I script about a specific thing that I don't have resistance. Like if I have resistance against something, I don't do any techniques. I try to avoid techniques. I just like to let it go and let it solve itself, unless and otherwise there's an action that I have to take towards of this thing that I'm trying to manifest. I leave it alone. Once I've planted the seed, that means I used a technique, specific technique, scripting, imaginal scene, affirmation. I just tend to leave it alone. I think that's important. Living it alone is important, and then the universe will find a way to make it happen for me. But if, like, for example, usually when I script about something that I don't have resistance, like something that I would like to have after a year, something that I would like to experience after 2 years. Like I would like to have after 5 years, I would like to have a big house. Okay, I'll just script about it right now when I don't have resistance against it. But yeah, so I do my scripting, and then I go through my daily life, which is, work and come home, exercise, and all of that sort of stuff. And when it comes to self-love, which I think is really important, I've noticed what, like, for me, the definition of self-love is being able to not let other people control your emotions, and being able to not let yourself feel negative emotions. What I'm trying to say here is, like, there are people who are overweight, but they don't feel negative emotions about that. So it doesn't mean that they don't have self-love. It just means that, they accept themselves for the way they are. So with, like, if you feel bad, or if someone else is making you feel bad, or if you're making yourself feel bad when you look at yourself in the mirror, it could be physical appearance, it could be intelligence, it could be whatever. If you're making yourself feel bad, negative emotions, that means you're not okay with your self-love. So every time I'm feeling something negative, if it could be because it was triggered by someone else, or because I triggered it, then that means I'm not loving myself at that moment. So I ask myself, hey, calm down. Let's talk. I usually, like, talk to myself. Like, I talk to myself as, yeah, I might sound crazy, but yeah. I say to myself, what is this important? Is like, do we have to solve it? And, find the right way to approach whatever I'm facing right there. If it is because I'm not being productive and I'm making myself feel bad, I tell myself, okay, maybe you should be productive. But yeah, finding out what is making you feel negative emotions. That for me right now is what self-love is. So yeah.
Lovely. It's so good when we get together and different people do things in different ways, because I asked all of you here specifically because I know every single one of you has been working on your self-love for quite a long time, and you're very stable within yourselves on a lot of different subjects. Not saying you're not trying to manifest certain things, you haven't got everything perfect, but you have got a really good grounding and a really good stable foundation with understanding self-love and doing certain things. It doesn't have to be that you do self-love practices. It might just be that you go and exercise and you eat healthy that day. You can call that self-love, or you can just say that that's me looking after myself. So it's wonderful to get a good toolbox that you can choose from, that is there. You may not do it all the time, but you pick what you need and what you want when you need it. And that, I think, is damn sight better than, mentally driving yourself crazy with anxiety, fear, stress, worry, lack of sleep, all those things that so many of us started with before we started on this journey. Thank you. Can you say where you are in the world as well?
I'm originally from Ethiopia, but I currently been living in Italy, so Europe usually.
Thank you. Julia D, I think we forgot to say where you were.
True. I'm in London.
London, England, UK.
London, England, with the Queen and you.
Thank you, darling. I think we were the queen of tarts yesterday with the amount of food we ate.
So worth it. So worth it. No regrets.
Julia, do you want to go next and say where you are and answer the questions?
Good morning, everybody. It's so early here. It's like 5:30 here in Ausland. As you can see, it's still quite dark here, but nevertheless, I've got the light coming through. So obviously I've come on Agnes's channel a few times to share my big manifestations. So obviously everyone knows my SP story where I attracted my person back, and we're now in a loving, committed, healthy, fulfilling relationship. And yes, I know you and I promised that we were going to do a follow-up interview, which we still haven't done yet, obviously because life got in the way. But yes, we will get around to that because there are some huge things happening with us. So I cannot wait to share that with everyone once it's fully hatched. And I've also shared my job success as well, where I had attracted a new job that was paying 25% more money than I've ever made in my entire life, which I'm really super thrilled that I manifested that as well. So that story is also up on YouTube too. And unfortunately now with lockdown happening again in Australia. I'm not sure if some of you viewers have heard what's been going on in Australia, but unfortunately we had a lockdown lasting from the end of June, and unfortunately a lot of people were affected and businesses were shut, including mine. So unfortunately I've been stood down, and I am still stood down to this day. So lately I've been focusing on a lot of money related techniques and manifestations. I've been doing a lot of affirmations such as money's always coming to me, money's never an issue, money comes to me faster than I can think. And just recently, as recent as yesterday, I actually even got $550, and it was from my grandparents. I was helping them sell big bromeliad plants that they wanted to get rid of. So they said, can you put it on Facebook Marketplace? And if you sell them, we'll give you the money. And I said, no, you can't give me your money. And they go, no, we have plenty of money. We give it to you, because obviously they know about my situation. So that was really nice of them. And the people came and put a deposit on it, and they're picking up the plants this week. So there you go. The money just comes to me so easily that I can think. And yeah, so with my daily routine, now I'm sorry, a lot of people are not going to like this response, but I do not have a daily routine. Why I say this is because I'm living in my manifestations. I don't feel the need to be like, oh, okay, I've got to do my 500 affirmations today. Oh, I've got to do my scripting today. Oh, I've got to do my Ho'oponopono. So I just do them, I guess, whenever I feel the need to. But what I do, however, do on a regular basis is self-love affirmations. So whenever I'm in the shower, I always tell myself that I'm loved, I'm wanted, I'm secure, I am first best, I'm free. So I have a whole list of affirmations that I use for those. Also, as we all know about everyone is you pushed out, I mentally stick to the stories that I want to obviously create, specifically with my relationship or my job as well. What else I also do is if anything in my reality, anything negative pops up, I do Ho'oponopono straight away. I'll listen to like a Ho'oponopono meditation before I go to bed. And I find that immediately calms me down and puts me in a more relaxed state. I'm not as anxious or worried, because sometimes I do find myself, get a bit more emotional and a bit more sensitive, more than the normal average person. And I find that doing Ho'oponopono really calms me down, and it really grounds me back to reality and back to the fact that, yeah, I am a conscious creator, that, yeah, whatever I desire is going to come to me at its right time. And I use a blanket affirmation. Everything is always working out for me. And I find that that's really comforting to use as well. So I highly recommend that as well. The other thing I also do use on a bit of a sparingly basis is I do some scripting only for major events. So for things like my job, the other day I went to my scripting journal and I opened it, and I found that every single thing that I wrote down in that book, like 90% of it came true. And it's just amazing how the universe is just working so hard in the background to create the one thing you desire, your end goal. And yeah, there may be a little bridge of events, or yeah, there may be, you might get knocked back at interviews or jobs, but you know what? you get to your end result, and then you think, oh, thank God, like all of that was totally worth it. And I also, now with more time, I also do some meditations as well, where, you know, I find myself, you know, really calm. I'd say I probably do those about 3 to 4 times a week. I listen to, some self-love meditations and some, you know, relaxing music that really grounds and calms me down. So those are the main top things that I do. So the next manifestation, and yes, you to come here in Australia.
Yes, I am seeing myself getting through Sydney Airport without being filmed for border security and not being attacked by the dogs.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that show. It's a really good show.
I love that show too. It's
Yeah.
Whenever I get off the plane at Sydney Airport, I think 9 times out of 10 they're filming that while I'm coming through to get off, and, you know, from England to Sydney. So yeah, it's a funny show. Thank you, Julia. That's really great to hear just the progress, and it's great to hear, you know, just how this works. And I think this is the thing, before I go on to the next person, what happens is when you first find out about self-love, you do it a lot because you've been doing the opposite pretty much your whole life. So you go from doing nothing or everything in a negative way, criticizing yourself, being negative, complaining, all those things that we do. Then you find out about self-love, you find out about law of attraction, about Neville, about Florence, and all these people. And then you go, wow, I've got some changes to make. So you start making the changes, but then a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 goes by, and you're not doing things continuously to feel calm and secure and loved, because you feel calm and secure and loved. So you do it when you need to do it, and you've got it there when you need to go back to it, but you're not doing things, you know, 5, 6, 7 days a week like when you first start. So it levels out. You go into that balancing zone rather than all or nothing. You come back into the middle, and I think that's when you really start to see the work that you've done, and that you've got reserves in the tank. So when something hits, you've got something there to deal with it. You've got the energy there, you've got the resources there within yourself to be able to then turn the tide of whatever's in front of you that's a bit challenging. So, Josh, do you want to say anything?
Hello. The biggest manifestations or recent manifestations. So recent ones is the ones I discussed with yourself in the last couple of weeks in regard to my new job. So, and this is the important thing that we always talk about, is obviously letting go. So what started off was well, I haven't started my new job yet, but I'm starting it soon. So where I am now, my affirmations were just simply, I'm grateful to be here, but please get me out. And I said this quite a few times in stressful moments or whatnot, and you sort of say it as if in a black and white world, you know, when people have like a meltdown because they've had a bad day or anything like that. But remember, it's, you know, what you're, you know, you could be affirming that, you know, so you're going to bring more to it, you know. So for me, it was just like, you know what, there's a reason why I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like that person. This is annoying me. I've had enough. I'm grateful to be here. Please get me out. So with that, I was constantly applying for the jobs in the background. I do believe, obviously, we have to, you know, give your universe a bit of helping hand. You know, show me some direction, and I can help you out with it. And what happened was, there was a particular week where I got 3 interviews lined up by email. I was emailed by 3 different employers, and they all invited me to an interview. And it was a very weird moment. Never had that before in my life, and I really believe this was a universe playing out quite well. However, there was one of the jobs that I really, really did want. So what I did was, I basically out of the 3, I secured my next job, which was basically a company across the road. I didn't want it, but it got me out of where I am now. So I was going to company A. Let's call it A. I was going to company A. All right. But I still wasn't happy where I was because I'm only across the road from where I'm still across the road from my previous employer. So I didn't like it. And plus, I'm still working away from home. Technically, I'm driving an hour each way, so it's a bit exhausting. So company B, I went for their interview, and yeah, I didn't feel confident. It wasn't the job for me, but hey ho, a bit of experience. Now, company C was literally a 2-minute bike ride from where I am now. And I really wanted this job. It was the most nerve-wracking interview, I must admit. But yeah, how I did that was simply I imagined wearing the company's T-shirt, and I just wore it. I pictured myself being in their facility. That's it. It was only 2 or 3 seconds imaginal scene, and I'll let it go. And literally, I think it was about the very next day I was given that job. I got a phone call from the boss who interviewed me and said, "Yeah, we'll have to give you the job. Can you start on this date?" So happy days. That's my manifestations. But the tips that took me through that, shall we say, was what Mercy said about leave it alone. There was no emotional attachment. I wasn't in what you call dire straits position. I wasn't desperate to have a job. I'm already in job. I'm all right. So I have no emotional attachment to any other job. I have no resistance to any other job. So that's why I believe these 3 jobs these 3 opportunities came in for me. There is that, and the imaginal scenes again is just picturing living in the end, no matter how stressful it might have been to, like, you're hoping, you're praying that you just get some feedback, you get an email, you get a phone call, just letting you know if you got the job or not. I just let it all go, because again, there's no attachment to it. I'm safe, I'm secure where I am regardless. So I think I know it's easier said than done, but it's having no attachment to it. And I think with practice, people can manifest things a lot easier. But what I do on a daily basis, and I do this regardless how the day has gone, whether it's been good or bad, is a lot of gratitude. So there's a list of things I'm grateful for, and I say it all the time when I'm going to sleep. Not so often when I wake up. I'm waking up. But yeah, it's after the end of play, laying in bed, list out what I'm most grateful for, and anything in particular in that day that really worked out for me. Especially give thanks. This is something that I enjoy. Keep bringing it more and more. I don't know, free coffee, or I don't know, discount maybe at something. I don't know. It's things like that. And the other thing is, I can't pronounce it, but it's Ho'oponopono. I do that continuously, especially with a lot of inner child work. I don't picture my inner child as such, but if I imagine sort of like as if I'm saying it out to my younger self, that's starting to break down a lot of emotional barriers for me. Not 100%, but it's a lot better, and I'm getting further with that. There's a lot of things that are changing in the reality, shall we say, just because I'm doing all this work. There's something that you mentioned there, Agnes, about something that what was it? About looking within. So if anything that has pissed me off or really upset me, and sorry for my language there, always looking. I believe the answer is always within, especially if you don't like something on the outside. It's always looking at what am I putting out? How can I change it? Not just imaginal scenes, but clearing up the reaction, or clearing up any negative, call it energy if you want, anything that I'm putting out. It might just need my attention within to sort out that issue. So that's what I do, and that's basically me so far. But it's been a bit of a journey, and I've still got a journey to go, mate. But yeah.
Lovely. Josh, can you say where you are?
I'm from the UK in the north, King of the North.
Yes, yes, yes.
I had to say that.
Beautiful. That was good. So good to hear the progression and what's worked and what is still working. Have we done everybody? Yeah. Okay, well, I will do mine. My greatest manifestation would be letting go of working for a boss and starting my own work that is related to this wonderful topic of ours that we all love so much, and making my living out of it. I remember saying to my law of attraction friend years ago, you know, oh, I'd love to work talking about Neville and Florence Scovel Shin and you know, just using all this stuff that we talk about together all the time, and meditation and self-love, and but who the hell's going to pay me for that, you know, because this was years ago. And obviously wrote a script and, you know, did affirmations and visualizations and all those things, and then it came to be. So that would be one of my biggest manifestations, and also that it incorporates, well, traveling as part of that, and moving around even during the pandemic, as Hamza has talked about, as Caitlyn has talked about, that there has been possibilities to move around even though there is this going on. So does it take a little bit longer sometimes? Yes. Is there a few more difficulties because of, you know, apps and paperwork and all that stuff? Yes, but you just go an inch, you go an inch, you go an inch, and you get there. And it's setting the tone before you travel. I find traveling in the pandemic has been one of the most amazing times to travel. You know, there's been 20 people on a 450 seat plane. The amount of space, the amount of care that they give you, because they're all terrified that you'll get COVID on their watch. So they look after you incredibly well. So it's been a wonderful time to travel. So that has been a huge manifestation for me. Secondly, manifesting someone that I wanted to be with in another country, and someone that said to me, "You're not for me, you're not for me." So that, I think, was a massive turnaround. Yes, the manifestation was incredible, but it was what I had to do within myself to be able to grow my self-love to the degree that it is, to be able to hear that someone wants to be with me, and that I never heard that anymore. So like what Josh was talking about, anytime something happens on the outside, it's like, okay, well, what is it that's going on within me? What do I have to work on? What do I need to dissolve? And, you know, we've talked here about the inner child many times. I think that is some of the greatest work that I did within that relationship to achieve having this relationship and maintaining it. Next month, it'll be 10 years that we are together. So it is something that is it looks like it's an external achievement, and it is on one level, but it's like the tip of the iceberg. It's what had to happen within my belief system, getting rid of inner child stuff, learning to re-input the new beliefs. Once I got rid of the old stuff, which was, I'm not good enough, I'm second best, I'm not secure, and I'm an anxious person, which I was in those days. And then learning to really become someone who is much more calm, much more self-assured, and to maintain that self-assurance, and to have just a mind that focuses more on the wanted and deactivate the unwanted. And that did take, I won't say that was easy. It was simple in theory, but with the childhood and the history that I had, it was not easy, and it did take time. But that was an amazing journey, and this person reflects back to me my self-love on a regular basis. And do I need it? No. Do I enjoy it? Yes. It's wonderful to see it. And we spend lots of time apart when I'm in another country. We spend time together when I'm in London. but we continue to communicate every day. You know, that's what the apps are for. And whether you're together or not, you can still keep that connection going and to keep that love flowing between you. So that's the second amazing manifestation, and I'm still living it. And the first one, I'm still living it. And I would say the third one is getting over COVID that nearly wiped me out. I think that was the great manifestation for 2021, to spend time really going within and healing from health issues, and to be able to continue to say, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy. And that took a good 2 months to believe and 2 months to soak in, because of the level of the illness and the level at which it got me. But it just goes to show it doesn't matter what it is. If you persist, if you're disciplined. And there were times I wasn't disciplined because I was, you know, with a fever, and I was laying in bed and I couldn't eat, and I was losing a lot of weight, and my partner was going through that, and he lost 3 of his relatives. So it was a very challenging time. But again, persistence, self-love. And self-love was simply, in those days of the really heavy duty illness, was, you know, making sure I drank water that day, making sure that I sat up and moved my limbs around a bit. You know, it was simple things, because when you're bedridden for long periods of time, it really can destroy your mental state, and your physical body starts to atrophy. So I forced myself, even though I wasn't feeling great, to do those things. And then slowly the tide turned, and then the health has come back. I would say I'm probably at about 95% now. And just the last 5% is getting the energy back up to the level that I know it can be. And exercise, meditation, and all those things definitely help. So going into the second part of the question, my daily routine has basically stayed the same for many, many years. Do I do this all the time? No. Do I do it regularly? Yes. So Ho'oponopono, anytime my mind wanders and starts to spiral about certain things, then I think, okay, I need to interject and intercept what my mind is doing. So I use that. And that's simple. It's not an affirmation that's trying to affirm anything. It is a great way to say to yourself, I'm sorry I'm hurting you for the thoughts you're having. Please forgive me. Because it's a negative thing you're doing to yourself when you're having negative thoughts, when you're criticizing yourself, when you're angry with yourself, whatever it is. That's when, like Messi was talking about, you're not loving yourself in that moment. So Ho'oponopono, I find, is a simple thing, an easy thing to use. Meditation, I love. I meditate, I would say, probably 6 out of 7 days a week, not because I have to, but because I enjoy it. I love doing a self-love meditation in the morning, or I just ease into the morning with Ho'oponopono. I might lay in bed for an hour. I do not wake up fast. So I'll do Ho'oponopono while I'm laying in bed, and I'll just ease into the day, saying it over and over and over as I wake up. And there is one 15-minute meditation, which I love, and it is in a man's voice, and it's beautiful. I'll put the link down below for those that want to listen to it. And I do gratitude in the shower. I do 20 things every day when I hop in the shower that I'm grateful for, on all different subjects. It's like I've got it that, okay, bedtime is self-love meditation. The bathroom, the shower is the gratitude place. The couch is where I do my other meditations during the day. So I move around, and I know that that time of the day is for that, and this time of the day is for this. Now, if I don't feel like doing it, I don't, but I just know that when I do it, I'm going to feel that much better than I do. So it's pleasurable for me. It's using my mind in a positive way. And it's in a way that if I am going on about something negatively, that it stops me in my tracks. And that those physical cues of parts of the house where I go and do certain things, that's really helpful for me. The other thing I love to do is walk. I love being in nature, whether I do affirmations on my walk or I don't. I need fresh air. I need to see green. I need to see trees. I need to see grass. I need to see something that is peaceful. And I love, you know, in London, there's so many beautiful parks. I live in a really bushy area of London. I'm right on the back of a parkland. So, you know, I can be right down where all the foxes and the squirrels and the birds are within literally, you know, 2 minutes. And that to me is really, really important, whether I'm in London, whether I'm in Sydney, or whether I'm in France with my family. I need that. I need that like I need air. It is important to me. I cannot go without it. And it's become more important over the years. So that's my routine. And it's been the same. It's been the same for probably 25 years. And, you know, even when you meditate for a very long time, you know, the mind can still wander. You don't have a perfect meditation every day, but you're not obsessed with perfection. It's progress, not perfection. Today I could have a terrible meditation where all I was thinking about was what had to buy for food and what I haven't got on my shopping list, and I've totally zoned out. And then, you know, I think I don't go, oh, you did a terrible meditation. I just go, oh, well, tomorrow's another day. And we do another one, and we do another one, and we do another one. And then it accumulates. It's a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And really, you become much more self-accepting, and you become much more self-assured because you're not aiming for this perfection. And, you know, I was talking to my law of attraction friend, and I'm going to finish on this. You know, you're watching YouTubes, and, you know, you're reading books, and you're listening to podcasts, and there's this, you know, real push for this overachieving thing. And I think achieving things is great, don't get me wrong. But I have realized in my own life, having a peaceful and calm day that's not too busy, that's not overachieving, that's not trying to fit in too much, that's not trying to overdo, that's been one of my greatest lessons, is to pull back from all that stuff. Still do the imagining, still do the, you know, read your script once a week or whatever, but this 7 days a week rabbit sort of thinking has really left me. It probably in the last 2 years, I don't feel this overachieving thing anymore. And I'm content. I feel content. I feel satisfied. I feel happy. And part of that is my relationship. Part of that is my relationship with my mum, with my brother, with myself, with my neighbors. You know, I've got 3 lovely neighbors, and just wherever you go, that you have these levels of peace, and things are balanced, and that you are satisfied with what you have. And I feel satisfied with what I have. Do I still desire other things? Yes. But like Messi said so well, just let it go. You know, I think letting go is one of the greatest law of attraction tools that's so not talked about, because it's so geared for techniques. And everybody gets to the point where when they go like a bull at a gate, they hit the wall. And then you have to pull back and learn that going like a bull at a gate is not manifesting in balance, because exhaustion is negative. So that has been a really good lesson, is pulling back, being satisfied, being happy with where you're at, being happy with this day, being happy with the meal you cooked, being happy with, you know, the conversation you had, being happy with the little bit of, I love the list thing too, Hamza. I've got a list every day. You know, I've probably got, I used to put like 20 things on my list. Now I put 5. That's enough. You know, 5, if I do 4, then that last one I didn't do, it goes the first for the next list for the next day. So you become more able to achieve these small bite sizes of things. So your overachieving obsession sort of calms down, and you feel satisfied with what you've achieved, and you feel satisfied with what you've done for that day. And I am enough. I have done enough. I have learned enough. I have slept enough. I have cooked and it was healthy, and that was enough. You know, what I'm doing is enough. And that has been probably one of the greatest things in the last couple of years. Small, consistent changes over long periods of time, which is very much ties in with the Japanese Kaizen. And that's how, you know, they came up with that. And it's a wonderful thing. I will put a link down below for that, because I know a lot of people are pushing too hard, trying to achieve too much, too quick, too fast. And it really doesn't matter whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60 or more. It is something that a lot of people suffer from, and it burns people out. So that's all. And thank you for sharing all your bits and pieces. It's such a wonderful thing to see where you all are, because I've known all of you in here for quite some time. And, you know, I've seen the transformation. I've seen you guys go off into all sorts of creative and wonderful things, jobs, study, travel, relationships. Like, it's just been, I feel like it's watching my little nest hatch. And all the birds have like dunk, gone down, and now they're kind of, you know, flying out. And I've learned a lot from a lot of you, you know, through conversations we've had over the years, and the connections we've had. And there's nothing more satisfying for me than to see people find their way, and then they just feel at peace in their lives. They feel happy with themselves. You know, manifestations aside, I think that is the golden nugget of all time, is that you feel at peace with yourself and you're happy on a daily basis. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And you've let go of anxiety. You've let go of taking prescription medications for depression, or, you know, whatever you had, insomnia, or whatever was bugging you. And you've removed yourself from relationships that were hurting you. Or if you've been single, you've found somebody that you really enjoy being with. You're studying what you love. You're immersed in, you know, things, groups, whether it's live or online, however you prefer to do it, with like-minded people. And you are moving towards the end of 2021 and saying, wow, you know what? I did a good job. I did a good job. Not for anybody else to acknowledge you, for you, between you and you. So thank you, everybody. Does anybody want to say any last words, that they wanted to add something before we sign off?
It was so beautiful listening to you speak, because you just said so many things that just, you know. But one last thing that I wanted to add was that I forgot, which you reminded me actually. Revision. Revision is really important. If something bad happens, I don't know, like if something negative happens, I usually like to revise it. And the way I revise it is by scripting, because I like, it's easy for me to control what I'm thinking about. But you can actually use visualization, like visualize the opposite of what happened, because at the end of the day, time does not exist. It's just an illusion. It's in our head, you know. So past, present, future, the past exists only in the memory. So if there is a memory that there is a negative emotion attached to it, just remove the emotion. So revision helps with that, and it changes the future. So yeah, that's one thing I forgot. But describing your relationship and stuff, I was just like, so, like, I was listening to you. It was just so beautiful. Yeah, I wanted to add that.
Thank you, Messi. Thank you. And I wish that we do this again, because it's so, honestly, every time we do this, it's like you go, oh my God, I forgot about that, or I haven't thought about that for ages, or, you know, or that person's now, you know, got a PhD and I would love to do that, but I don't feel good enough. Let me talk to them, or, you know, whatever it is. It's like somebody in here has done something that you would like to do and you haven't done yet. And we can share our experience, share the resources, share the meditations and all of that. And that's wonderful. So if you mentioned anything today and you've got links or different things, can you send them to me? I will add them in. And I will say thank you, everyone. Just stay on. I'm going to just sign off from the chat and the recording, and then we can say bye in private. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. I hope you've learned some things to help you, and put down in the comments if you would like to, what your top manifestations are, and what your daily routine is. Lots of love, and see you in the next YouTube.